Hi, this is Scott with 4D Tech. Today we are in a 2018 and newer body style Ford EcoSport that came equipped with the base 4-inch screen. We are going to show you how to perform the 4-inch to 8-inch Sync 3 conversion from 4D Tech in this vehicle. To perform this conversion, you need a few basic tools. A 7mm nut driver, plastic dash removal tools, and a T20 Torx driver. These tools are available on our website for your convenience. Let's get started. First, we need to remove the small cover panel behind here to remove the display and upper bezel. We need to remove that to get to the set of screws. To remove that panel, we'll take our small dash removal tool and get it in between the screen and the little panel and pry upwards to release it. And then we'll work our way around the panel and set that aside. Next, we need to remove the 3 7mm bolts that are through the metal bracket behind this screen. With those screws removed, this screen assembly along with this upper panel actually come out as one piece. To do this, we want to start at these bottom corners with our dash removal tool and pop those clips loose. And then we work our way up and around the panel. The clips go in towards the front of the car, so you're kind of pulling backwards as you're releasing. With that panel released, we're going to take a cloth here and kind of tuck it between the screen and the dash so when we spin it around we don't scratch up anything. We need to disconnect these two connectors. So this small black connector has a little clip on the top. We'll push that with our finger and unplug that. This yellow connector here has a little tab that we squeeze here, but it does take some pressure to get it unplugged. You could also, if you're having difficulty with it, get a tiny little flat blade screwdriver between this little lip and the connector base and just work it free that way. You just want to make sure you're pushing in that tab and that it's released when you take it out. So we are going to reuse this upper cowl here that's attached to the back of the screen on the new screen. To do that, we need to take out these 2 Torx screws here and here that attach it to the display screen. Once we remove that, we can set the old display screen aside. I do recommend it's easier to do this on a soft bench or so to protect the screen. In this case, we're doing it up on the dash so you can see it in the video. Now we'll grab the replacement screen assembly that comes with the 4D Tech conversion. This replacement screen assembly will come assembled with this lower piece of trim and the button set already installed through the screen. So we'll take this and reattach the cowl to the new screen. These holes will be empty on the new screen. You'll reuse the screws from the old screen. Also, when you look, when I set this on here, this upper part of the bezel goes in front of this little lip here, and then you line up these two holes. Now we need to reconnect the two connectors we disconnected earlier. You want to make sure the connectors are fully seated and clipped in. Now we'll swing this assembly around. And you'll have to just snap it back on, working your way around. The clips are really tight, so you're going to want to use quite a bit of pressure to get them all clipped in. You'll know you're in correctly because these 3 bolt holes back here will line back up, and there's a little metal hook that goes in a slot right here that aligns everything. So once that's all aligned, we'll put the 3 7mm bolts back in that we took out earlier. With the 3 bolts back in, we'll replace the small cover panel back over the screws and snap it on. And now we'll move on to the next step. So the next step will be to replace the sync control module for the 4-inch screen, to replace that with the Sync 3 module that comes in the kit. That module is located behind the instrument cluster, but is pretty easy to replace. First, we need to release this piece of trim, this lower piece of trim that has this leather attached. You want to make sure the steering wheel is set in the all the way down position, which we already did. So we'll just get in here and unsnap the clips that hold this piece of trim down to this main piece of trim around the instrument cluster. Once we do that, we just need to pull this piece of trim out with our dash removal tool. And it comes out pretty easy, just a few clips. There's 4 7mm screws that need to come out. These 2 uppers and these 2 lowers down here. The lowers, you want to be just very careful when you take them out that you bring the screw out with the nut driver, that you don't drop them into the dash. With those 4 screws out, we'll pull the instrument cluster forward and out and tilt it. You can see this connector right on the back of here. It may be hard to see in the camera, but there's a clip on the bottom side of it that I'm pushing with my finger, and then we unplug the connector. The instrument cluster will slide to the left out of the steering wheel, and we can carefully set it up on the dash. You'll now see the module located back behind the cluster here. This is the module that we're replacing. So you'll need to disconnect these 4 connectors here. So we'll start with the antenna. There's a clip on the top of it. Push down on that clip and unplug it. This right angle blue cable has a little clip underneath it. Push that clip and pull it off. The USB cable here has a clip where my thumb is. Squeeze that and disconnect it. And then this main connector here will push the clip right in front of this gray lever with our thumb. And you'll see we'll slide the lever all the way and the connector will come out. There are two T20 screws that need to be removed in this corner and in this upper corner to get the module out. The module sits in a clip in this corner, so you're kind of lifted up to swing it out. And then this upper hole in the upper left-hand corner is over a peg. So we'll remove this module and we'll replace it with the Sync 3 module that comes in the 4D Tech Kit. This module will be programmed to your vehicle using your provided VIN number. So this is custom programmed for this vehicle. And now we just need to install this the same way with this connector up. We'll slide it in the opening, set it in the same lower clip down here. This harness might be in the way of getting it slid on this upper peg to line up the screw holes. With the screw holes lined up, we'll replace the two T20 Torx that we took out. With the two screws back in, we'll replace all the connectors. Make sure this lever is still folded flat like we left it when we removed the connector. Push it in till the lever starts to move, and then push the lever all the way to the left till it clicks to lock the connector in. Take this USB connector and we'll plug it into the port up here, same as where it came out of the other module. All the connectors, you want to make sure you push them in until they click. This one with the right angle facing up, push that in. Then this one with the little release clip facing up, and push that in. Next, we'll replace the instrument cluster back in the dash. So we'll slide it back in the opening how we took it off, locate the connector, clip facing down, and plug that back into the cluster till it clicks. And then realign the cluster with the 4 screw holes that we took out earlier. Now we'll replace the 4 screws that we took out earlier. Remember, with these bottom 2 screws, be super careful to hold them to the screwdriver when you're putting them in so you don't drop them into the dash. Next, we need to replace this piece of trim that we took off earlier. Make sure you lift up this flat piece to get it out of the way. We'll go around. And snap this piece of trim back on. And then we'll take this you got to end up with the leather behind these 2 little areas here. Then once you do that, you'll be able to snap this back down. Completed the installation of the conversion kit. We're going to fire up the vehicle and let the new Sync 3 system load up. As you can see, we are now converted to the 8-inch display. This system also has navigation on it as well. You can purchase this conversion without navigation with the Sync 3 if you want to use Apple CarPlay and Android Auto instead for your mapping. The installation procedure is the same for that kit. Now you see how simple it is to perform the 4-inch to 8-inch conversion in the 2018 and newer Ford EcoSport from 4D Tech. I'm Scott. Thank you for checking out our video.